Give me my theme music. What's up, Buffs Nation, and welcome into Buffs News Weekly Live. I'm your host, Russ Dornish, and it is a glorious Tuesday afternoon. Thank you so much for joining me either live right now or if you watch this later on recorded. Of course, before we get started, make sure you're subscribed, make sure you hit that like button. All those things help support the channel and is greatly, greatly appreciated. We've got just a little bit of stuff to talk about today. No big major breaking news. So we are going to cover a little bit of kind of looking at the roster post the winter transfer portal, post the national championship game, obviously last night, to see where we stand roster wise and where we are going to see the need to maybe go after more players. Also, potential opportunity that some players might hit the portal, creating even more opportunity and openings. But when you look at the filled out roster, we are pretty full at most positions. There are a couple gaps where there's an obvious need for some extra talent. I'm also going to lean on you guys heavily to make sure I didn't forget anybody. You always get those couple of guys that you just don't even think about. So I would appreciate any help when we get to that point. But before we get to that, of course, the title of the video, not a clickbait or anything like that, but the question is, will Coach Prime sign an extension, and when will he be signing an extension? First off, it's looking like the Dallas Cowboys coaching job is coming to an end in its search. Everything online is pointing towards Brian Schottenheimer getting the head coaching job, that or obviously Kellen Moore. But it looks like so far today, there has been a few posts from different people attached to the media when it comes to the Cowboys saying that Schottenheimer looks to be the leader and looks to be getting offered the job here either today or tomorrow. Again, putting all of the thoughts and worries behind of Coach Prime taking over the Cowboys job, and we can just move on and know that, okay, he's here to stay. We don't need an extension right this moment to feel comfortable, because the fact is all the NFL jobs are getting filled. Coach Prime will be here to stay at least for another year. But obviously, if we get that extension, it's going to make a lot of people feel a lot better and more comfortable with where we're at and what's going on. And so when it comes to when we might see a extension, the good news is, guys, and we're just looking at it right now. I'm going to go ahead and give me 1 second. I'm going to share my screen with you guys so you can see the little bit of news that we've got coming in last couple of days and what it means for Colorado. So real quick, we're looking at this. There has been a call for a special board meeting of the Regents this Thursday, January 23rd. Now, just so you guys know, when they call an emergency meeting like this, it's usually to approve some kind of immediate change or a salary, contract, hiring. If you guys remember, back when Coach Prime was first hired and the rumors started swirling that he might be the Colorado coach, there was a special Board of Regents meeting called to approve Coach Prime's contract. So could this be a sign of a potential deal or part of the negotiation, meaning that, you know, the AD and everybody involved is going to the Regents to ask for more money, to ask for specific things, to get approval on specific things? There's a lot of stuff going on. Now, the good news is, once this meeting happens, we'll know what the meeting was about, okay? We'll know what happened within that meeting, and we'll most likely have information of, is it just a discussion about some things that they want in the contract? Is it about Coach Prime agreeing to a contract and them voting on to ratify the contract extension and give it to him? Or is it just not even have to do with the football team? Most likely it does. They don't call special meetings of the Board of Regents very often for anything in particular. Normal staff contracts go through a very specific process of every single year at the same time. Obviously, football and sports is a little bit different. There's no other coaching needs at the school that would necessarily need this kind of emergency meeting. Everything about it, when you're connected to the program, when you understand how this works and how things get voted on and all that, points to something going on. And especially when we know that contract negotiations are happening behind the scenes, you have to kind of figure that it has something to do with that. So we'll have to see come Thursday if that is in fact what happens. The good news is that if the Dallas Cowboys job gets closed up here in the next day or so, we can at least breathe a sigh of relief that, yes, Coach Prime is not leaving. And for all of those haters out there in my comments on social media, the receipts that we're going to have when all of you said that he was for sure gone to the Cowboys. It's going to be a fun day, okay? I will be doing a stream sometime towards the end of the week if they announce the Cowboys head coach, and we'll be going through a fun day of receipt watching because it's always fun to watch how crazy and confident people get. And I know that I saw some pretty crazy bets out there that people made that was like, I'll do this if Coach Prime doesn't go to the Cowboys. And so we've got a lot of that stuff to go through later on in the week. Let's jump in the comments. Let's see what you guys have to say today in regards to this. And then, like I said, we're going to move on to looking at the current roster in its current state, talking about the positions. By the way, when I get to that, it's not going to be in depth chart order. I mean, it looks like a depth chart. I just threw the names on there. The order does not necessarily mean things, and obviously can change and all that stuff. And we're not going to debate today or this early what the starters are going to look like for Colorado going into the spring or even next year just yet. I like to at least get through the spring and see what's happening in practice to get an idea before we project those rosters out. Okay, welcome in Jones 2. Appreciate you dropping by. Colorado's dealing with a real heat wave right now. Finally, we got above freezing and knocking on the 30s. Cam, the funny thing is, have you seen the rest of the country? Florida is in a freeze watch. Texas got snow. What's funny is the Colorado ultimate freeze isn't that bad in comparison to when you go down to a humid location and they're dealing with freezes. I would take right now in Montana, it's been negative for 4 days. You go out, it gets to a point where it gets so cold that you almost can't really tell the difference. It's just really, really cold. And that's just the way it is. But yes, getting up there in the warmth and the warm weather for Colorado now. We might see a couple Ohio State, Notre Dame players at the portal. Oh, yeah, we for sure will. Keep an eye on Carnell Tate, wide receiver for Ohio State. How is Dallas so stupid with their coaching hires? They look at people like Coach Prime, Jason Witten, instead of decent hires such as someone like Rex Ryan or Pete Carroll. So, Cam, here's why. And any Cowboys fan, any real Cowboys fan that's not, completely crazy and out of their mind, because I've talked to a bunch of Cowboys fans and they know Jerry Jones may be one of the richest people ever, but he is also the cheapest person ever. You look at the coaching hires that Dallas has had over the years, they do not like paying their coaches. So do you really think they're going to go after a big name like that that's probably going to carry with it a pretty big salary? Or do they go after people who are untested, unchallenged, and are going to accept a low-paying coaching job to come in and coach the Dallas Cowboys? That's what it really comes down to. I've heard all my Cowboys friends say the same thing. When it became obvious that it was Kellen Moore and Schottenheimer, two guys who really haven't had that experience, and so they can be paid a low amount when it comes to that salary versus other people who are going to ask for a heck of a lot more. Absolutely. What's good, Coach Dre? Appreciate you dropping in. Board of Regents better get the money correct. The NFL is watching very closely with a keen eye. There was news a few days ago coming out of Boulder that there were breakthroughs in the contract situation with Coach Prime. Yep, and that was around the time that the announcement for the Board of Regents came down, guys, was right around the time that all of that kind of hubbub started with the contract extension. So to me, again, it's screaming that we're on the 1 yard line, guys. We're on the 1 yard line with an extension for Coach Prime to stick him out here to help the program. And if I'm being honest, the people behind the scenes already know and feel fine about it, okay? Including the players. They know, they get all this information. They're not just being left in the dark wondering, oh, is my coach leaving next week? They know and they get that information firsthand, okay? They really, really do. What's up, Northside? Welcome in. The Dallas Cowboys probably going to hire Kellen Moore. Yeah, like I said, Kellen Moore, Schottenheimer, I think those are the two guys right now they're deciding on. Most of the receipt watching would come from Husker fans who are obsessed, or CSU fans, or Cowboys fans themselves, because I've gotten into it with a lot of them currently, and it's kind of crazy. Russ, I didn't know Q6 was coming early. Yeah, he's there, guys. He was today was the first official workout of the season. You guys can go watch Reach the People. They did cover it. A lot of throwing up in that first practice, but what can you say? Both the first one at altitude for a lot of these kids, and of course, Andrew Swayze putting them through their paces when it comes to workouts. But yeah, Q6 is in the building. Quentin Gibson. I thought that he was coming early, but if you remember, he just came from the All-American game. So my guess was he wanted to participate in the other things. They gave him the go-ahead to come in a little bit late. And I'm just glad that he's here, a part of the spring season. We're looking really good when it comes to participation for spring, and we're going to be ready to go come this fall and training camp for sure. That's why I said, Coach Ray, it's snowing in Florida, guys. Okay? People want to talk about Colorado being this cold Arctic tundra, but it's snowing right now in Florida. Chicago, -1, which is a normal day. Well, not to mention that wind chill. We don't want to talk about the wind chill and the Arctic blast you guys get off of the lakes. No, thank you. No, thank you. LSU Stadium was under some snow. That was strange to see. It's just crazy what's happening right now. What's up, King John? Welcome in. Appreciate you dropping by. What's going on with Matt McChesney? Is he going to be part of the Colorado's program? So Rodney, right now, what it looks like, and I talked about this in my last stream, if you want to check it out too, went really in detail, but it was announced that George Hegeman and Gunnar White are not co-assistant offensive line coaches. They are co-head offensive line coaches. So that tells me, and based on what Matt said at the end of last week with his interviews and talks with Coach Prime, he wants to keep doing his gym. He wants to keep his life in Highlands Ranch, Colorado, where his kid plays high school football. And if I'm being honest, and you guys know this, the life of a full-time Division I football coach is not one that you can be part-time like he would need. So my guess is right now they're having discussions. They're trying to figure out with the NCAA how this is going to work. But Matt will probably be some kind of staff member, maybe, workout contractor, strength and conditioning contractor, offensive line analyst, something that's just not going to require him to devote too much time to the program, but be allowed to be connected to the program. The problem that we're going to run into, and I don't know what the NCAA is going to view with this. Again, we talked about it last week. I don't know what power the NCAA has at this point. I don't know if they are going to be dishing out any violations. If you haven't noticed, there has not been any violations announced for the NCAA in a very long time. Remember that at the end of the season was roughly around the time that any self-reported stuff would come out and they would have to then be penalized this upcoming spring and recruiting season and all that. There hasn't been any of that. I'm really wondering if the NCAA is just sitting on its hands now because they know they can't do anything. And that would then bring up the question of, is there anything illegal about having Matt be a part of the staff and still run his gym training high schoolers? I don't know. Normally, yes, that's a violation and there was no way this could happen. But with the way the NCAA is right now, I have no idea. So we don't know officially what Matt's role is going to be. He has said either way, he is going to have a greater role with the team and focus on it and really help them. And in my mind, I think the big focus is going to be the need to recruit. He is going to be our liaison when it comes to the trenches, getting those trench kids in, whether it's defensive line, offensive line, trying to get more people in when it comes to high school recruits. I think that's what his big major piece is going to be. So they only have 25 players missing, and the local kid, Zane D'Souza, I don't think Zane is there. He's one of the ones I know is not there. I also don't know if has anybody seen Corbin Leisure, if he's shown up, or where some of the transfer guys are. I can't recognize the new guys, and they haven't done like a full introduction of some of the guys. I think Zach Atkins is there. I think he was in the video where he stood up there and said hello. I don't think our 2 freshmen tight end were, but that's where we're at. What's up, Shirley? Welcome in. Welcome in. Those Barnes throwing up there. It happens. It happens. My kids had a 2-hour delay because of the freezing temps. 25 is starting off very weird. Oh, yeah. Hey, hell is freezing over, guys. Hell is freezing over right now. That's what's happening. Yeah, it's going to be some weird title for Matt, I think, in the end. And we probably won't find... Well, we will because he has his podcast. He'll probably announce it there. The team won't announce anything, and they don't really announce anything with their coaching changes. It's all just kind of found out everywhere. What's up, Jared? How's it going? Appreciate you dropping by today for the live. If Matt comes on staff, we're going to get them 4 top O-line in Colorado for sure. Anybody that trains with Matt will immediately be favorited to come to our program. Anybody that trains with Matt will be immediately that. And I could even see some more transfer guys coming in, especially. Yeah, Zane's not an early enroll. I thought for sure. Okay, so Corbin is there. I couldn't recognize him. Glad to know that he's there, and we at least have a couple tight ends being a part of these workouts and hopefully doing some passing with the quarterbacks. I know Caden Salter already did a passing, practice afterwards with some of the receivers. We probably won't see Julian Lewis throwing for a bit. Again, they're probably just saying, cool it, chill it, let your hand be 100% before you do anything, and then we'll go hard from there. That's my guess of what's going on with that. So Matt knows his stuff. A lot of kids are getting huge offers from big-time schools. A lot of his kids have always been getting big-time offers from big-time schools. You look at the number of guys in the Big Ten and the SEC that are all Matt's kids, there's a lot of them. A lot of them. Zane's staying to play basketball. Leisure's there. Okay, that's what I figured. Q6 doesn't seem that short. I think a lot of these kids aren't as short as we think. I mean, Julian Lewis is not that short. I know that's been the big complaint about Julian Lewis and why he can't start this year is he's too small. Physically, muscular-wise, yeah, he needs to put on a little bit. But height-wise, I don't think it's as bad as it could be, and he's going to continue to grow. So I don't think that's a problem. I haven't seen Gibson on campus yet. Has anyone? Zane and Prolific? Yes, Gibson was in a video today. Reach the People posted the first workouts, and Gibson is sitting right next to Julian Lewis on the benches before they started their workout in the second half of that video. So Q6 is there. He is on campus practicing. Glad to hear Prime is in contract negotiations. They've been in contract negotiations, Larry, since the end of the season. That's been well known. Rick George was very adamant as soon as the season ended, he said that is what they're starting to do is negotiate. So that's been well known that negotiations have been happening. Now, the question is, have there been any stalls? Have there been any issues? I think that some of the talk for the Cowboys and the Raiders, I think that came from a little bit of stalling on the contract. That may not be Rick George's fault either, guys. I don't want you guys to think that like Rick George is trying to nickel and dime Coach Prime, because Rick George knows what needs to be done. He wants to get what needs to be done. There's a lot more red tape and a lot more political aspects to getting these sort of things done, especially at a school like Colorado. We're in a better place than we were years ago. If anybody here is a longtime CU fan, you know how bad the Board of Regents have been. We know how bad the president was in his prioritization of the football program. And that's not the case anymore, guys. So I don't know what is causing the holdup or what was, requiring that need, but I honestly think that's what was going on. I think coming out publicly to say, hey, I talked to the Cowboys and the job sounds interesting, but I'm not going to take it. I think that was kind of a nudge towards the Board of Regents and the people and the boosters involved with Colorado to say, hey, let's start getting this money going. Otherwise, I have options. And I will take them. I won't go to another college, but I'll jump to the NFL if I need to. I think that's where we're at. I think that was Corbin Salter were throwing to him and Reach the People media video. Yeah, Rick George is probably going through logistics with the contract and the staff around Prime. There's a lot of red tape. And trust me, college contracts are way, way, way more complex than NFL contracts when it comes to coaching. There's a lot more red tape to go through those than anything. What's up, Shiny King? Welcome back in. Appreciate you dropping by. You guys still think Hayden will leave with the new running back coaches coming? I don't know. If he leaves at this point, you know what I think it'll be? I think it'll be because the team tells him to. We won't know the answer to that, but the team will tell a couple guys to leave after going through these workouts and after going through spring practice. That is going to happen. Hollister and Quinnell have a real NIL. I mean, the NIL deals are already pouring in for our freshmen, guys. If that doesn't tell you that we're NILU, I don't know what does. And by the way, if there's somebody watching that's going to get a little mad about us calling it NILU, Colorado's being called NILU because we are actually getting our players NIL deals on the national level. Deion Sanders is the first ever college Nike athlete. Okay. Travis Hunter signed with Adidas. You've got Julian Lewis already has like 5 or 6 NIL deals. Quinnell Farrakhan already has NIL deals. They just keep piling up. Okay. We do it a little bit differently. Rather than hand over cash to the kids, we set them up long-term and give them actual endorsement deals that are going to pay out, and they sign contracts with guaranteed money versus an under-the-table agreement handshake saying, here's your money. A little bit different when it comes to that, and that's why we are NILU at this point. Before Deion came to CU, the school was focused on academics over football. Hopefully the new president can change that. Exactly. Don't give a damn. You know, you're one of the long-term people. I know you guys out there. It was not a priority. They tried to change this to academics for quite a while, last couple of decades or so. And now we have a president who is very football focused. We have new board of regents. We have some of the people who are anti-football off the board of regents now. Obviously, Rick George is pushing. Coach Prime's pushing. The boosters are back involved again. So things are definitely turning towards the focus on football. I had somebody tweet at me that, basketball is getting shafted, and that's why basketball at CU is so bad right now. We're a football school, guys. I don't care. We're not basketball is great, and we're going to make some money off of it, but we're not a basketball school. We are a football school, 100%. That's just the way it is. It's going to happen again. Coach Prime told us last week that faith and worrying don't go together. We is okay. Just relax and be patient. Exactly. We're going to be fine. We're going to roll this up. We're going to be completely fine when it's done. Well, I should have said, I hope the deal gets done soon. Gotcha. So a lot of the talk shows can kill that noise before it hurts the recruiting. I get it. Yep, I get it. Coach Prime extension might be one of the biggest events to happen in the history of CU sports. It's a big deal. Not just sports, but CU in general. The school in general, this is probably one of the biggest events, which would notate the need for a Board of Regents meeting emergency and getting it going. And, it's a good 2-hour meeting, so definitely can be covering that. Kai Moore, Hayden is staying. I think he is. I really do. I don't see Hayden leaving with Marshall Faulk and Tommy Robinson coming in that room. No, I agree. Yep, Gatorade, AT&T, Google, Nike, Reebok, JL Audio, et cetera, et cetera. Don't forget Beats. I mean, they've given out custom CU headphones to the whole team, and Shador is repping Beats as a NIL deal as well. Appreciate you, Coach Dre. Yep, hit that like button while you guys are in here. We're close to 300. I love it. Not as much as Saturday. That was absolutely insane, guys. We had 1,300 people in here, and that video has hit the 35,000 person mark. Absolutely unbelievable. Absolutely love it. But hey, it's just a Tuesday afternoon, not much news happening, and yet we've got 300 people watching. Appreciate all of you right now with your eyes on this. If you're over on Twitter, jump on over to YouTube. You can join the conversation over here. We're getting closer and closer to 5,000 subs. We increased by nearly 200 subs over the weekend too because of that fantastic stream. So we're on the road very quickly to 5,000. It's starting to pick up steam, guys. Starting to pick up steam. They're running the program like a real NFL team. Every piece of this is being ran like an NFL team. Absolutely. There's East Coast Kev coming in. Salute you, East Coast Kev. Appreciate you dropping by today. Thank you. Thank you. Coach Prime walking away would be catastrophic for CU. Yes and no. I've already talked about this ad nauseum. Yes, it would be detrimental and absolutely insane and terrible, and everything would go back to somewhat mediocrity. But he will still leave CU in a better spot than it was before he left, even if every player left. The reason why I say that is we could be stuck right now as an Oregon State as a Washington State with no real conference, ending up in the Mountain West. I wouldn't be okay with that. The money that we're going to be bringing in through the Big 12 is way bigger than before. We had the finances released, by the way, guys, and the athletics department for the first time ever was in the black, not the red, which is really good for this athletics program. And a lot of that has to do with Coach Prime. And again, that was only his first year. That does not include this year. And some of the revenue was eaten by the fact that our Pac-12 payout was so terrible that first year with Coach Prime that the school had to dish out a little bit of endowment money to cover the difference in what they were supposed to get from the Pac-12. So this year will be the first time getting the Big 12 paycheck. So you know that next year's financials are going to look really, really good. Really good. Just subscribe. Thank you, Larry. Appreciate you coming in. Appreciate you subbing. Hope to see you around more and more. Love the questions. Love being a part of it. See the number one reclassified 2026 and CU offered him with like 3 other teams. Cam, I mean, running back's now a thing to watch, guys. When you have Marshall Faulk and Tommy Robinson, and tell me, somebody said I'm pronouncing that. I've been calling Marshall Faulk that his whole life, and I've seen them call him that on every broadcast. Am I supposed to pronounce the L? Is that something? Am I really messing up that bad with it? But needless to say, running back's going to be something to watch because now we're in play for more recruits, just like we are for the defensive line once we got Warren Sapp, just like we're always in line to get some good DBs if we go after them. I think that's going to be a priority, by the way, this recruiting class. Here's your priorities for the 2025 recruiting class. Running back, cornerback, maybe linebacker, defensive line. Obviously, offensive line, yes. But I think the two big ones that we could see a 5-star could be running back. But I think this is the year we go back after a DB who's a 5-star, after not going for him, after bringing back our starting DBs for next year. I think it's going to be a necessity to go after a 5-star DB in the upcoming class. Negotiates don't take 3 days. It can last 45 to 90 days. Hopefully Coach Prime signs the mega deal. Guaranteed a big one should include an escalator clause of $150,000 per year, $15.5 million. Well, and I think, Mike, what we're going to see too is a lot of heavy other incentives, things like promises to the athletic program expansion. So building and facilities, promises for the food budget and all that stuff. Promises for expanded coaching staff money. I could see Coach Prime taking less on his annual deal if it's going to go to his coaching staff. He did that when he came here, by the way, guys. He got offered like $7 million instead of the $5 million he took. He asked for $2 million less and to use that $2 million to go towards his coaching staff. He will probably do that again. The total value of the contract is probably going to be absolutely insane when you really look at it. And that's probably the biggest thing that has to be discussed with the Board of Regents. Not necessarily the annual contract, the salary. I think everything else is what's really going to be discussed and talked about. Basketball team has a really nice locker room. Hey, we got good facilities overall at CU. That's not a problem here. I can already tell the new coach and strength and conditioning coach is going to have the players in shape. These boys are already throwing up in this first practice. Patrick, they throw up every first practice because of that altitude, but I agree. What I liked seeing in the video from Reach the People was his ability to motivate and talk to the kids. He did that a little bit more than I remember seeing some of the other strength coaches. I think they kind of took turns. I have a feeling that Andrew Swayze is going to be in charge of that, having those discussions with them, really pushing them to push themselves in each practice. And I think that's why a lot of players loved him as a strength and conditioning. I think he does a good job of pushing people. I think he does a good job of getting the absolute best out of his players when it comes to working out and all that. So I think that's what we're going to see with him. I don't think it's a stretch to say we'll have the best defense in the Big 12 next season. I don't think that's a hard thing to say. Bringing back our secondary, safeties are looking pretty good. Linebackers looking not bad, guys. I mean, Martavius French and Reginald Hughes, those guys are men. They are men, and they are ready to start day one. And then not to mention our defensive line, I think the depth is there. We're going to go over the roster here in just a moment. I'll show you guys. It looks actually pretty good. It really does. I could very well see Hood be a part of that room. Absolutely. He has the ability to. 15.5 to 16.8 million, give him a contract he can feel comfortable with. Oh, I think so. I like I said, I don't think it's going to be that much. I think we're going to come in around the 10 to 11, but there's going to be an increase in his assistant coaching salary to where it would come out to like, it would cost CU anywhere between 16, 17 million a year. It's not going to go all to Prime. It's going to go to other things too. If Prime never came to CU, they'd be in the Mountain West right now or the new Pac-12. We'd just be in a bad shape, guys. We'd be in really bad shape. I could see Coach Prime. I could see Prime stop coaching, staying at CU in a different role. Maybe. I don't know. Regarding today's video, it didn't seem that the returning players were the ones who were tired. They know what's going on, guys. You got to remember, when players first come in, they're not used to the altitude. They don't know what to expect. Some kids will take it and be like, oh, it can't be that bad, and it really is. Some kids just, didn't work out over Christmas break or do enough. It's all over the board, guys, okay? Don't judge anybody based on their first workout video, okay? The fact that we had one of the returners who's supposed to be a big part of this team throwing up does not necessarily mean anything, okay? They could have ate something wrong. They could be sick. They could just not have done anything in a couple days or been out of altitude for a while and are dealing with that. There's a lot of things going on. Coach Dre, I think that we had a great first day. When the running coach Swayze said that the guys were showing championship strength today. That was great to hear. Yep, Nick, I love it. I love Gibson on campus. We got all the boys. We got the Texas trifecta, as I call them. The Texas trifecta. We've got Adrian Wilson, Quinnell Farrakhan, and Quentin Gibson all on campus, ready to go early. Absolutely love it. If you guys remember, some of our wide receivers that came in last year didn't show up until the summer. The fact that we got all those boys in during winter and spring workouts is going to be a massive advantage for them. Massive advantage. They're offering many kids from CU right now. That's the other thing. Coach Prime is literally hurting the program by talking about the Cowboys and being in the news. And yet we're still recruiting. We're going after players left and right. We've probably offered at least 10 to 12 kids in the last 2 weeks. We're fine, guys. We're fine. For sure. Let's go live and get a panel soon. Great show. Appreciate Larry. Thank you. I can see Coach Prime teaching some sports business or just a business class in general at CU when he's done coaching. And Cam, he already does right now, by the way. There is a Coach Prime leadership class at CU that Coach Prime does participate in already. So very well could see something like that in the future. 2026 class, going to be more than 15 kids, about 22 kids. Anquan Barnes was, but you're right, the rest were okay. I'm sure the conditioning will get more intense. Yeah, for sure. Northside Prime will not go over 15 high school kids. I think 20 at the max. I don't see anything over 20. They need a bigger weight room. We don't got much more space, guys. We don't got much more space to go after a bigger quote unquote weight room. But I get it. It's not big enough to have the whole team at the same time. They have to do groups. And I know that Coach Prime says he would love to be able to do them all at the same time instead of groups, just for camaraderie and chemistry and all that. One thing with some of these kids is they got to get a client. Yep. The altitude is no joke, guys. We want to be able to pull 5 stars on a consistent basis without needing more NIL money. Coach Sway is definitely a great motivator. Did you notice that the training staff really inspected the practice facility of UTSA when they practiced the Alamo Bowl? Yeah, I saw that too. That was when they said we love that we can have the whole team at once. They're taking notes, guys. They're taking notes. The mega deal needs to be signed. Use the other money for staff. I think that's what's going to happen. Yeah, French is the perfect replacement for NHG. I think he is, guys. I think that he can live up to the expectations and match what Nakai Hillgreen did last year. I really do. He is the body size. He is the intensity. He has the production. So as long as he brings that, guys, we're going to be completely fine at that position. Okay. Oh, there's Northside with the super sticker. Appreciate you, Northside. Thank you very much for the 99-cent super sticker, super chat. Appreciate you. Now we're going to get into what I talked about. We're going to look at the depth chart. Not the depth chart. Sorry. I shouldn't say the depth chart because we're not doing depth chart. I am saying we're going to look at the roster now and talk about what this looks like. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look-see. Here you guys go. Here is our offense. Again, if I'm missing anybody, let me know, guys. I try to do my best with this, but there's always one or two guys that just, out of my mind. And we don't have an official roster online yet. So had to piece it together. I don't know if I missed anybody maybe that left the program, but this is where we're at. Okay. So obviously, I mean, when you look at the receivers, I think we're good. We might add one more, but if you look at this, guys, we're 3 deep at every position. Terrell Timmons might be pushing for a starting spot. Draylon, I think, will. Joseph Williams will. Cam's going to be a part of that. You got Adrian Wilson. You got Quentin Gibson. You got Quinnell X. I think Gibson and Michael are both going to contribute big time when it comes to this team and just on a regular basis, similar to how Draylon did last year for sure. Offensive line, you can see we've definitely grown when it comes to the interior. I would like to see a little bit more on the outside. We really do not have a starting right tackle that I can see here and be very comfortable with. Resnick obviously started games last year, so he has the experience. Cardi's the freshman. Okunbiyi has not really started and played that much in his college career either. Ethan Boyd is interesting, guys. He still has eligibility. I've not heard anything about him leaving. Has anybody else heard anything about Ethan Boyd? Okay, Ethan Boyd is gone. When did that happen? Did he just hit the transfer portal? Because he's literally not listed on transfer portal out, and he shows that he still has eligibility on Buffs Wire. So I'm happy to remove him. Well, I don't have room for Caleb Mathis, Coach Dre, but he's there too. We've got a bunch more receivers. This isn't the only receivers, by the way. There are more. You got other walk-ons. Okay, Ethan Boyd is in the portal. Well, what I looked at did not have him there. So there we go. And are you saying Ben Resnick is gone? Charlie running back 1. Oh my goodness. Savell Smalls, does he still have eligibility, guys? If so, he'd be right in here. With the tight ends we're bringing in too, I don't know how much playing time he's going to get there. I really don't. Okay, he announced he was retiring and then hit the portal after the year. Oh, that's right. He did do that. You're right. Okay. So Resnick has no more eligibility either? Interesting. If so, there we go. We're even lighter at right tackle then. Goodness me. Zach Owen's still there. That's good. But the interior is looking a lot better. Okay, there's a lot more depth on the interior. I don't think that Cash is going to end up starting. Okay, I think that Zarian McGill will end up starting. He has experience there. I think that he has a chance to start at center, guys. I do. Remember, this is not in order of who I think will start, okay? I put them in this order simply because they're who I remember and they're guys that I think would probably start or be at the top or that I remembered first. Again, this is not a depth chart. This is just a roster. Who at what position is listed here? Yeah, and Hood's going to be here. Savell Small is going to be here. There's way more wide receivers, guys. Trust me. There are way more wide receivers on this roster than what we know about. So that's where we're at with that. Yeah, I think when we get down to it, I think Zarian McGill will be our starting center. It'll be interesting to see the guard positions, who starts where. I think Zy Chrysler is going to have the leading candidate to start at guard. I think he's the only one that I could see for sure, but everybody else has. Yep, and this is what I think, Shelly. Everybody has a chance to start at some point this year. Coach Prime does not shy away from rotating guys regularly. Zarian can start a guard. Yeah, he's played a ton of guard. Guys, we have a lot of versatility when it comes to the interior. And I think that makes sense for why Coach Prime brought them in. I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that they can play left, right, center. We've got a lot of depth. Just look at that interior as an entire position rather than one individual position, okay? If he puts on 10 pounds, it'll be, yeah, I agree. He's got to do that. So Sam Hart has not entered the portal, and he has eligibility left. Plus, with him going out injured all of last year, I'm wondering if he got an extra year of eligibility through that as well. So that's where I'm at. He's still here. CU has to get an O lineman from Notre Dame with production. We'll see. We'll see if one of those become available. We will see if they. Yeah, and I didn't know where to put Yaya. He's a project, so he could honestly go anywhere on this line. I could, yes, absolutely see him getting time and doing some more things at center if that spot is open as well. Thank God we can move Tyler Brown back to guard. Agreed. But we do need a right tackle. So let's look at this in the terms of what we need, guys, more so than what we've got now. Obviously, the biggest need on the offense is going to be right tackle. We need a starting right tackle. I need to know exactly who is starting at right tackle. That is probably our biggest need in the spring portal. Tackle. Would you guys not agree? I know Coach Dre agrees right here. I think that's where we're at. Right tackle needs to be the priority for Colorado in the upcoming portal. Okay. That has to be the number one get. Okay. If we don't get another right tackle, we're going to be in trouble. I really do think so. Obviously, we're good at quarterback. We could see maybe somebody leave from this group. I don't know. Looks like they're staying here. Yeah, Cardi does need a year to go. What happened to the tackle from Chicago on the team? Remind me of the name, guys, if somebody else knows. Because I literally went through the portal and recruiting, and I had nobody else. Unless it was somebody from last year, and in which case I would have just completely forgot. But yeah, we're good. We're good here. And look, tight end's starting to look good, guys. Tight end's looking fine. I think we're going to do just fine at tight end. Yeah, I'd put Houston there too. I could see that. That's why I put him 2 here. Put him interchangeable to the right side. Gardenhire, put him in there. We need 3 more offensive linemen that can play. I'd take that. I would take that. Now let's take a look at the defensive side of the ball, okay? A little bit more gaps, but also I think we're pretty set starters-wise, guys. So here's what we got on the back end, okay? And I left some gaps. I don't know. Some of these like walk-ons and stuff that we had last year, I don't remember who left and who stayed, because I know there were some people that left the middle of the year, and it's hard when they leave to really know what they're at, okay? Okay, so here's what we got. Guys, the defensive line, by the way. The defensive line is looking good. This is our strength. Okay. Now you kind of know why Deion Hayes took off. I think he saw the writing on the wall a little bit, that it was going to be a grinded out battle and a big rotation. And he probably wanted to go get some, more time, more focus, a little less crowded of a room, because we're looking really good when it comes to our defensive line. Again, no particular position. Obviously, we can rotate these guys. I'm not setting anything. I just put them in there to fit them in, and roughly where I assume they'd be, whether it's edge or interior, also based on size, what we've got going on. Yeah, and I know McPherson can play inside. I did that more on size, Coach Dre, just because of what we're looking at there. But absolutely, I could see him getting some time there. Oh, yeah, Peyton Kirkland, he was out. Yep, he's out. I took him off. D-line is going to be the strength of this defense. 100%. Nick, this is not a depth chart. Trying to remind you guys, just kind of threw him in there. Okay? I ran out of space in some spots. I can absolutely put those guys in the interior and whatnot, just rotate. Okay, don't worry. I just said all of them. I know. I forgot. I just realized that. You're right. I did forget Carter Stoutmire. That I will put on. Again, not in the order of how they're going. Plus, Football Fanatic got it. Okay? I always forget about Carter, man. I always forget about Carter. I'm sorry. I don't know what it is. I just always forget about Carter. But yeah, he's probably going to be a starter on this defense. But this is the big thing too. That's why I just kind of say all four of these positions, just hold them interchangeable at this point, because there's going to be a lot of looks and things. I'm just saying this is what our defensive line room looks like. Sam, Arden, London, Christian, Jaheim, Torian Carter, Tavian Coleman, Anquan Barnes, Amari McNeil, Tafiq Thomas, Gabriel Lightfoot, Keaton Wade, Quincy Wiggins, Tajay McCoy, Alexander McPherson, Brandon Davis Swain. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Very insane when it comes to what that looks like. And also, when you look at the cornerback room, the depth isn't really there, but we've got starters. We've got starters with maybe one or two guys that can fill in if needed. If we get more than 2 injuries on the DB end, we're going to be in trouble, guys. So we need some more DB for sure. We need some more DBs as well, for real. Okay. You saying Torian Carter's bad? Before he got injured, he was looking really good, if you guys forget. Yes, this is what it is, though. CU has to add more pieces in the DB room for sure. Yep, Kieran Garcia and Goldberg. If they're walk-ons, I just kind of put them wherever. There's so many of them. There are more guys than you guys know about. I'm just putting the guys that we for sure know are going to make an impact. There's obviously guys that can move into that. Like I said, this is not a depth chart. This is not a depth chart. If you're coming in late, this is not a depth chart. This is just me throwing players into their positions or roughly where we think they might be playing just to see what the depth looks like. Okay? Does that make sense? Just the depth. We can debate who's going to start later on. We'll probably do that sometime in the spring. We'll have a show. You guys can debate it out, decide. We'll even do this together. We'll populate the depth chart together. I can put some polls in the chat. We can come up with all of it. Okay. We'll do that a little bit later on. Just know that that's where it's at. Okay. You meant Carter Stoutmire. My bad. Kylan Salter can play running back. I told him that, and he responded that wouldn't be fair to the other team. Hey, but I do like our linebackers now. I mean, Reginald Hughes and Martavius French will start. Kylan Salter, Jalen Wester, those are your experienced kind of depth pieces. And then Mantrez Walker, Jeremiah Brown can be in there too. You got some rotation. You got some guys in depth there. Not as bad as we thought it was going to be. And we lost a lot in the linebacker room. I deleted a lot off of that. What cornerback they got late last season, always good message on Well-Off. Forgot his name. Oh, I don't remember his name. I know you're talking about too. Carter's not great in coverage. Savion could definitely take his spot. That could happen. That's why I have Savion, listed out on the free safety side. I think him and Carter will go at it, for sure. Martavius French is a man. He is huge. Yes, he absolutely is. Arden going to start, but appreciate the content. Yeah, I know. I knew he was probably going to start. Probably at the right, probably opposite of Sam, or Sam and Keaton will go at it. Like I said, it's not going to really be that way. Ben Boozy. So he stuck around. It was Angel that left for sure. I had Boozy, but I couldn't remember. That's right. I have seen him in videos recently. We'll throw him in there. But you guys can kind of see the depth. Still, I want more corners. I really want more corners. Even if for RJ, if I move him to corner, still, then we need safety. We just need DBs. DBs, right tackle. And I'll start to feel really good about next year, guys. I hope you guys see that. That's kind of the goal of looking at this was, let's look at the gaps and let's look at what we expect Colorado to go after here in this next transfer portal. And I think, yes, the focus needs to be on the defensive back position. And I think that it also needs to be on the right tackle. Don't forget, guys, we got Colton Hood in the second portal. And he was a spring starter for Auburn. That very well could happen again where we get somebody with that caliber to come over to Colorado in the second transfer portal. Nikhai Hill-Green was another one. They had Carter playing out of position last season once Hodge got hurt. He is a safety, not a slot. He can easily cover tight ends and running backs. He hits like a truck. He is a pro prospect. Okay. Kalen Salter might be a beast at running back, like the Michigan linebacker that changed the running back, forgot his name. Hollywood is still there. Got it. Hollywood Murphy. Yep, right there. Malachi Murphy. We all know CU ain't done yet with the transfer portal. Oh, for sure. We know that second portal's coming. We're going to get second win, guys. Oh, excuse me. Just choked. Offensive line will take a few years of recruiting to be solid. Yes, 100%. You got to remember, we started with 0 last year. We started with 0. Seton was kind of the crown jewel, the cornerstone of our build. Cardi and Chauncey are kind of that next evolution. We're getting guys in between to fill those spots. Next year, we'll probably get a couple more really good offensive line players, especially now with McChesney, with Hegeman. The IMG pipeline is wide open. And I think that'll be a focus going into next year when it comes to the recruits. Absolutely. Otis and Barnes on the goal line is basically a brick wall. Agreed. That's a big line. Torian Carter, too. Gosh, you could put all 3 of them in the interior of that goal line defense, and it'd be hard to get down the middle. For real. Carter Stoutmire does not hit like a truck. He is a hand tackler. Grizz, he left after fall camp, but he had things he had to work on. He good now. Who are we talking about there, Coach Dre? Here it is. The comment. He didn't even make it through fall camp. I don't know why it's not letting me click on that, but okay. There it goes. We're delayed. He didn't even make it through fall camp. Did he Angel? That's what I thought, but I think he is there. Wait, is Angel back? Is Angel Lopez back in the team? I thought he left the team for good. This is where it's at, Eric. Year 2 under Robert Livingston. Not to mention, don't forget, guys, George Hilo got promoted. He'll be more involved in doing things. We got a lot of good stuff. Some of the guys who are here now will probably be, that's what I said, at the beginning, Larry, too. I think that this is going to change a little bit more. Okay, that's what I thought. I knew Angel left. For some reason, I thought you were saying that he came back, which would be kind of crazy. So overall, I think we know what we need to get. We're probably going to lose a couple guys to the portal in the spring. I would love to get, if we could get a breakout running back. I don't know if we will, but hey, if now our coaching staff includes Tommy Robinson and Marshall, I think we might be able to entice a pretty good running back to transfer over. We'll have to see what happens. But yes, that is what we're looking at here, guys, when it comes to the roster, the depth. I wanted to just go over it. We're at the end of the college football season officially after the national championship last year. So wanted to take a look at, where do we stand today heading into our very first spring workout today? Okay, the very first big spring workout, conditioning, strength, all of it. And then, what it's going to look like as we go into that next portal as well. We'll keep an eye on that. We'll do another one of these, like I said, towards the end of the spring. And when it comes to the end of the spring, for that, I'll do a stream with you guys where we can debate who's going to start. I'll get your guys' input. Heck, we can put together 2 different rosters. I'll give you what I think, and then I'll get your guys' opinion on who you think. We can compare notes, see which one ends up being correct once the season starts. Absolutely love to do that. Oh, look, it's Coach Barry coming in. Been very busy whipping the bookkeeper. Last 8 days of 111K picking NFL, NBA teams. I agree. Prime gets his best dogs during that second transfer portal. And that's what we got to look out for. That second portal has a different kind of wind to it, guys. It really does. You got battles in the spring. You got people losing out on battles, or you got guys who just don't like their outlook on the team making that jump. You got guys who are starters, but maybe they're just not liking what's going on at the team, in the spring when things are changing. Who knows? There's going to be a lot of change. There's still going to be a lot of change to come. Absolutely. Appreciate you, Coach Barry. Appreciate you coming in. Kai thinking Staub is going to be gone. Okay. I think Goldberg's going to surprise some folks this season. I think he's downhill run stopper. He looks too big to cover in space. I haven't seen much about him. I need to actually see him in some situations to be able to gauge that really, really well, for sure. We got Brandon Hood. He just needed a year to heal his knee. Trust me. Brandon Hood is one of my sleepers going into the spring and into next year. Okay. Brandon Hood, somebody to watch. Absolutely. I think that's also why we didn't push it too much either. I think you're right. Hope you don't have a situation like last year where players are starting that should not start. See linebacker and running back last year. So here's the thing. The problem is, guys, and you got to realize this. This is why it happened. Okay? This is why that happened. You've got some guys that are gamers. Okay? When they get into a game, they're great. They look better. Everything, works out. There are some guys that are practice warriors. You're Charlie Offerdahl, okay? You're Trevor Woods at linebacker. They practiced really well, and because that's all they have to go off of, they start at the beginning of the season. And unfortunately, we swapped them out fairly quickly. Didn't hurt us too bad. I mean, the loss to Nebraska you could talk about, but that's what happens. It's unfortunate, but sometimes you have to go based off of what they do in practice, and some players just aren't great practice players, Nikhil Green was not a starter at the beginning of the season. I know he was banged up a little bit, but when he came back, he took that spot and did not look back. That linebacker room got solidified that week 3 game, your Levanta, Nikhil Green, nobody else was going in there. Because you got to remember, first game, like Jeremiah Brown played a bunch, Trevor Woods played a bunch. It is what it is. It is what it is. But the problem is, JJ, he probably does, but he doesn't know who that person is or not. You don't know until they actually get in a game. And that's why you talk about it. If you get a chance to go in that game, even if it's just for one play, go out there and make a massive play on that one play and keep that spot. And that's what some of the guys did. And unfortunately, you can't gauge that. It's hard to gauge that. Now, the best players are guys who can do it in practice and who can do it in games. And then you don't have to worry about that, and you've got the right guys starting. That's where we're at. Charlie Offerdahl, I should have never saw the field. Yeah, that one was bad. I don't know if he was trying to prove a point. If you watch spring practice and the summer practices, Charlie was doing a lot of stuff in those practices. You guys can't not admit that. I mean, remember all the big plays, all the plays where everybody was hyped up because he was, breaking it for massive yards. You go just off that, yeah, Charlie was doing the most in practice compared to the other guys. Did he do it in the games? No. So that ended quick. That ended real quick. I know this is future news, but here in CU going to get Deuce Gerald, 6'3" edge, running back, defensive end, 2026 class from Collins Hills Travis Hunter's school. We're going after a lot of guys right now. We're going after a lot of guys. Yeah, I know about Ronald Coleman. He's one of those guys I was talking about we have just a bunch of receivers that we don't really talk about. And they're there. If I can get a full-on depth chart, that's where we're at. But yeah, Coach Barry, appreciate the other $5. Thank you for that. Absolutely where we are at. I hope Prime really clamps down on those unsportsmanlike fouls. Discipline was a problem with the 15-yard penalties. There's a lot of stuff we got to tighten up going in next year. For sure. For sure. Most of the kids now in the portal are going lower D1 or D2. The big names go quick. The big names go quick. It's dead. The portal is dead right now, guys. And I don't mean that like literally. I just mean like it's not really jumping off. You're not seeing big time commits. You're not seeing big time schools going after guys anymore. It's cooled off. They're waiting for that second run of the second portal / once all this stuff kind of gets out of the way at the end of the season. So we're not really seeing very many things happen. Yeah, penalties in journal hurt last year. Absolutely it did. Oh, don't give a damn. I don't think you had a choice. Need to fill out this roster. 3 offensive linemen, 2 corners, a linebacker, running back, and it's go time. Joe Kidd, I like your thinking. I think that's where we're at too. I think that's a good number. I think that's a very, very good number to look at. T. Woods, how did that? Yeah. It's unfortunate for him. This is a good question. Who's your guess to have L or D's on their jersey? Okay. So obviously whoever our quarterback is probably gets one. Whether that's Julian Lewis, Caden Salter, maybe both of them. One gets a leader, one gets a dog. I don't know. Seaton's going to get one. I could see Omarion or Terrell Timmons get one. I think that's it for offense that I can think of off the top of my head. You guys put in the chat if you guys know, or if you're watching this later on, put in the comments down below who you think could get a L or a D going into spring / next season. The defensive side of the ball, I could see Jaheim Otis. I mean, if he comes in and does what he needs to do, DJ McKinney could probably go after something. Preston Hodge could get something. Trying to think with the new guys, the edge room, you're going to look at, your Arden Walkers, your Keaton Wade, your Amari McNeil could get one. Linebackers, you could easily see a Martavius French, any of the starters there. It's hard to figure out on the defensive side what that's going to look like. Special teams, I think Ben Finiseth gets it on special teams. I think you guys watch. I think he ends up getting it for the special teams plays. I think that's where he's at. Ben is getting an L or D. 28, can't spell his last name. I think you're talking about Finiseth. Arden Walker will get one. Yep. Otis and McNeil get that dog. Yep. I like that one. Draylon probably could. That's a good one. Otis, not just a big boy. He is athletic. He moves great. He does. Seaton, Hodge, Hood, Salter. I like it. I think that absolutely could be it right there. D. Colton Hood, McNeil, absolutely for the dog. Yeah, I think those are all great gets. Byard has to get one. We need a quarterback on defense. Hope he steps up. I think he could too. I think he's going to be a big part of that defense, guys. I think he is an upgrade a little bit. Not over Cam. I think we're going to miss Cam for sure. French gets the L. He's going to be the defensive play caller. That would make sense to me as well. Welcome in, buddy. What do you think about Micah Hudson decommitted again? And I believe it's about money promised wasn't right. You think he has a problem, or do you think he's not, and the CU going to go after him again? I don't think we went hard after him in the first place. The fact that he wanted the bag in the first place, because I think what happened was, and I think this happens a lot, guys. I really do. I think the team picks up the phone, calls up these portal guys, and they are probably like, I'm interested. How much? Click. That's when Corey Phillips, that's when, Box hang up the phone. They don't even get him to Coach Prime. At that point, it's like, you know what? No, thanks. If that's your priority, number one, we don't want you. We want your priority to be, I want to be in a place where I can succeed. I want to be in a place where I can go to the NFL. I want to be in a place that I can, provide an impact. Here's Coach Prime. Let's talk about what your role is going to be, what I want to see out of you, all that. Okay, here's Box, here's Phillips. Okay, here's the money we're thinking. How does that sound? Oh, you want a little more? Okay, I think we can do that. Bam, call it a day. Let's transfer. Good. Agreement. I think that is what is going on with the portal. So anybody that calls up and talks to the coaching staff and is like, give me my money, they're going to get hung up on, and they're probably not getting another chance to come to Colorado, no matter their skill, no matter what's going on. I think that's what happens. I really do. It's why I don't think we even picked up the phone and tried Bear Alexander, for instance. in the portal this year. I think there's a lot of players like that. I think, for instance, KC, I think that wide receiver, I think they liked him. They brought him in. They saw everything going on. And then he started going on his little, country visits to all the schools and probably started doing the highest bidder type thing. And I think CU probably just said, you know what? No, thanks. We'll go hard after Joseph Williams now. And we pulled him away from Utah. So I think that's where we're at, guys. CU needs to recruit high school trenches like they recruit high school wide receivers. Prime love the skill guys to a fault. Who's getting the green dot? I agree. I think it's going to be French. I think it's going to be Martavius French. Prime is tight with Coach McGuire. The fact that CU didn't recruit Hudson the first time around should tell you everything you know. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. No more money grubbers. Byers needs the leader designation. He sticks his nose there at tackles like Cam did. Linebackers and safeties need to be the leaders. It worked with Cam and Hill Green. Kai Moore, that was the cap. The way I see it, he out of there. Jonte Cook is back in the portal. That's my point. There's guys that were just looking for money and they're back in the portal. Okay. So that's where we're at with that. Okay, guys, I'm going to call it for the day. Appreciate you guys dropping in. We're going to head out. I'll try and be back either Thursday or Friday. I will be on vacation next week, by the way. If something really breaking news happens, I might do a late night from my hotel room like I've done before. But this one's an actual vacation, not a work trip. Going with the family, taking them on a vacation for getting out of the cold weather as best we can. So I'll do my best, but know that might be why I'm a little MIA. Make sure you guys are following me on Twitter, by the way. I stay active on that, even on vacation. So if you guys are looking for that, make sure you're following me over on the X. Buddy vacation. We're going on a family trip to Disney. Yep. Like to take the family to the old mouse and give him all my money. That's where we're going. So appreciate you guys. We'll do our best. Hit the like on your way out. Make sure you guys are sub. We're getting to 5,000 quick, guys. We barely made 4,000 the last 2 months of the year, and now we're rolling to 5,000. We could be there by the end of February, I think, which would be much quicker than we hit 4,000. So I appreciate all you guys. Appreciate your time. Appreciate you hanging out with me. To end the night, I love this guy. Cook is cooked. You get the joke of the stream right there with that comment. We'll leave that up. So appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. Yeah, your Tuesday. I'll see you Thursday or Friday, unless we get other big breaking news. But we'll see you then. As always, I'm Russ for Buffs News Weekly. Sco Buffs.